So today, me and my team member Kenneth is going to be discussing about domestic violence in Malaysia. And here are the contents that we are going to be discussing about. And yeah. So, for introduction, what is domestic violence? Domestic violence can be defined as like a pattern of behavior in any relationship that is and control over an intimate partner. So, for example, somebody threatens a when somebody threatens someone, they usually want to make sure that they have control over them and control over their life. And the second is who is the victims of domestic violence. So the victim of domestic violence is pretty much any individual who experiences abuse, whether physical, emotional, psychological, sexual, or financial within a domestic setting. So what are the causes of domestic violence? So there are mainly three factors that contributes to this. The first is socio-economic factors, the second is culture norms, and the third is psychological issues. So for socio-economic factors, financial stress or unemployment often contributes to tension and conflict within households. This causes and helps to increase the violence in the household, making domestic violence easily to happen. 不能讲到，这英语不是 English bro，sorry， 讲多一次
慢慢来，我可以 cut 掉个。
，sorry。So what are the causes of domestic violence? There are mainly three factors that contributes to this. The first is socio-economic factors, the second is culture norms, and the third one is psychological issues. So for socio-economic factors, financial stress or unemployment often contributes to tension and conflict within household, potentially escalating to violence. And the second is strict values in cultures or different cultural values have like have beliefs that men have authority over women, leading to control and abuse. And the third one is mental health issues such as untreated anger management problems, depressions, or any stress related emotions can also trigger violent episodes.
So just now we already talked about the physical and then psychological, all the stuff lah. So now we're gonna explain more about it. So the first is the sexual, like forcing you to participate in non-consensual acts. So for example, like the inappropriate touching, something like that. And the second one is physical, any behaviors that directly harm you physically, like punching or like abusing, use your like hand abuse, something like that. And then third one is the verbal, using words to threaten, blame, or demean you. For example, like scolding and then like threaten you. He like one person wanna threaten you to kill you, something like that. And then the fourth is control, eliminating freedom by controlling you from making your own choices. For example, like people control the person and then not letting him have their own decision. So the fifth one is the emotional, targeting your insecurities or vulnerability. So this kind of person that we're gonna target your vulnerability, and then because of you being vulnerability, they will become more harmful. And then next is the impact of domestic violence. So they have three kind of impact. So psychological impact, intergenerational effects, and also physical health. So the first one, psychological impact. Victims often suffer from long-term mental health issues such as like depression, anxiety, post-traumatic stress disorder, which means PTSD, and also suicidal ideation. So the second is children intergenerational effects. So children exposed to domestic violence are at risk of becoming future abuser or victims, perpetuating the cycle. So which means like after affect the person, and then the children were gonna become a future abuser too, or becoming the victims. And then the third one is the physical health. So physical injuries range from minor bruises to severe injuries, including like broken bones, internal organ damage, or permanent disabilities.
Okay, so right now, we'll be getting on to the challenges in addressing in domestic violence. And there are four of these right here. So the first one is that limited awareness of rights and resources. Many abuse victims are mostly unaware of like their legal rights or any hotlines, shelters that they could ask from help. And the second one is fear of payback. Abuse victims usually fear that the reporting the abuse will result in more like harm to themselves or their children. And the third is economic dependence. So financial reliance on the abuser prevents, many victims from leaving the abusive relationship. And the last one is ineffective legal and judicial support. So like enforcement of protective laws such as Malaysia Domestic Violence Act in 1994 can be very slow or very inconsistent, or sometimes they might be ignored too. And right now, here are some case studies and real life examples. So, the case of Bella from 2021, this is Bella. So the detail is that Bella, a 13-year-old girl with Down syndrome, was abused and tortured under the care of a foster caretaker. This is a foster caretaker. The case, like it shocked the whole entire Malaysia when it, came to light with evidence of physical abuse, starvation, and neglect. So what is the impact from this? The impact is that this sparked national outcry, leading to like public awareness about abuse against vulnerable groups, especially children and individuals with disabilities. This also highlighted the gaps in Malaysia's child protection services and enforcements.
So the next case study we're going to learn about is the abuse in welfare homes linked to GISB holdings, which happened at 2024. So the detail is in September 2024. So Malaysian authorities rescue 402 children and teenagers aged between 1 and 17 from welfare homes allegedly operated by Global Ikhwan Service and Business Holding, which is GISB. Victims reported enduring severe physical abuse, sexual exploitation, and neglect over an extended period. So the welfare homes operated under a guise of religious and social legitimacy, masking the exploitation and abuse within their walls. So what this impacts? So this case caused demands for several changes to Malaysia welfare home regulations, including as mandatory inspections, license transparency, and harder enforcement measures. And then next is the statistic and data.
Okay, so for this, right, this is a chart from a age breakdown of domestic violence perpetrators in 2013 to 2017. As you can see, most of the um, age that is doing the like domestic violence is mostly around 26 to 35. And the second highest is the age of 36 to 45. And this is the domestic violence cases by state in 2017. So like as you can see, the highest is actually Johor, and the lowest one is Kedah, and it's Kedah. So like you can see that Johor has a lot of family abuse, yeah. And this is the total cases of domestic violence from the year 2000 to 2021 in Malaysia. And the reason for this is because that in 2021, we think that because of the pandemic, we think that because a lot of people are staying at their house, and domestic violence can happen easily, without the authorities knowing. So next.
Okay, so next is the prevention. So here are some ways that we as a spectator can help and prevent domestic violence. So first of all, we're gonna believe them, which means when the person came to talk with you and then they talk about their own experience, so we're gonna stand on their perspective. We're gonna believe them first, and then leads to the second one is listen to them without judgment. So like we won't judge to a person who is being abused or having this situation, because when we judge them or we doesn't believe them, there will be more sad, and also we kind of make the thing go worse. And then the second is offer support and encouragement. At this point, they came to find you, or we being as a spectator. So we're gonna encourage them more because at this point it makes them to become more not being too depressed lah. And then the fourth thing is link them to resources that will help them leave their abuser, which like have some organization or some people that who can help them. We can link them to the resources lah. And the fifth one is help them develop a safety plan. So basically this one we're gonna we're gonna let the organization and lead them to there, and then they will develop a safety plan which make them to leave being away from this situation, so from being abused, from being treating badly, yeah, something like that. And then move on to the next one is recommendation and future directions. So first of all, we're going to increase funding for shelters and hotlines, because nowadays hotlines and shelters, like people doesn't know more about it. So we're going to increase the funding for shelters and hotline, making it become more aware. And then the second is strengthen enforcement of existing laws. And then move on to third one is improve public awareness and education programs. So for this, we can make a campaign or make a so because nowadays Gen Z they're using the social media, so we can improve the public awareness by showcasing the campaign through the social media or through the real life physical. Yeah. So the fourth thing is incorporate. The third thing is the fourth is right. The fourth thing is incorporate domestic violence training for healthcare providers. So some organization they have some training which is like incorporate domestic violence training. So with the training, so people can learn more about how we can prevent this or how we can move on from the hurt that they got from the situation. And then the fifth thing is raise domestic violence awareness in media and entertainment, which also lead to the improved public awareness because we can use the media and entertainment raise the domestic violence awareness. Yeah, something like that.
Okay, so in conclusion, domestic violence like requires not only legal and policy reforms but also collective effort for everyone, the public, society, or communities and individuals. And together, like with the help of everyone, like we can create like a safer environment for every families in Malaysia or families in other countries. And if you or someone you know is experiencing domestic violence, help is always available. You can contact the Women's Aid Organization or Talian Kasih for immediate support. And here is their phone number. And that's it from us. Thank you and thanks for watching. Bye bye.
Thank you.